People who work at a Subway/sandwich place, what is the strangest order you've ever had from a customer? I worked in a pizza place and at one point we had a man walk in and order a personal cheese pizza. Then he specified that he wanted no sauce. Then added that he wanted no cheese. Then decided he'd like to add uncooked cherry tomatoes as a topping. We ended up cooking a slab of dough and throwing some cherry tomatoes on top. He then proceeded to use the pizza crust as a plate for his tomatoes, then threw the crust away after finishing his tomatoes. We had a salad bar with the exact same tomatoes as well. Back in high school, I worked at the local Subway. Every night, 30 minutes to an hour before close, this large African American man built like an NFL linebacker would come in, and no matter how many or what kinds, would clean out whatever was left of our cookies for the night. 2 oatmeal raisins? A dozen chocolate chip? A smattering of everything? Didn't matter, he'd purchase every single cookie left and leave. We nicknamed him Cookie Monster. My town had a lot of foreign exchange students from South Korea and they would always order the meatball subs with scoops of seafood sensation, which was just mayo and imitation crab. Then have it toasted. It smelled horrible. Also had a guy that could barely talk, he was so high wanted every sauce on his chicken bacon ranch, it was more soup by the end. Then he gets to the register and he remembers he doesn't have any money and walks away. My manager actually asked anyone if they wanted it. Worked the night shift for Subway during college. Had a regular come in at 3 a.m. usually that would request that we toast the shit out of his sandwich. I'm talking the whole thing was basically charcoal. First time he came in while I was on shift, I pulled his sandwich out of the toaster and he told me to put it back in, and again, and again. I thought he was a drunk guy fucking with me. Apparently he really liked the taste of burnt everything. Grossed me out, but as long as he paid I didn't really care. Damn, this reminds me of an asshole that would always order 2-foot-long flatbread sandwiches right before we officially closed. He demanded that we toast each sandwich separately for 8 minutes with all of the veggies on it. If someone tried to toast them together, he refused to accept it and insisted we start over. There was never a manager for the closing shift, so this asshole just liked to bully whoever was working. Oh, and then extra regular mayo and sriracha. I think he wanted to know what a dumpster fire tasted like. I worked at a Burger King my junior year of high school, not a sandwich shop, but play along. I was on specialty board, chicken and fish mainly. This order came through for an original chicken with HHHH mayo. H in the training stood for heavy or extra. I asked my manager if it was a typo and they said no, this guy comes in once a week for that sandwich. I swear, by the time my manager said the sandwich was proper, the mayo was thicker than the chicken patty itself. I felt like I needed to bathe afterwards. Don't work there anymore, but the one order that sticks in my mind above everything else was one time a guy came in on the phone to order 2 sandwiches and he explained one was for his 7 months pregnant wife, so to please make it right, he has a list of exactly what she wants. So I made it exactly how it was written down, then made his and he paid and all was good in the world. Then maybe 10 minutes later the phone rings and I answer it and there is this woman on the phone just screaming at me telling me I made her sandwich wrong and how she wanted ranch instead of mayo and blah blah and that she would send her husband in to get it remade. Yeah, no, full Karen minus the let me speak to the manager bit. So the guy comes back in and I immediately recognize him and he's apologizing profusely, explaining that his wife is pregnant and hormones and whatnot, and I assured him I've been yelled at for less, it's no big deal, I'll remake it at no charge. He has the offending sandwich, I remake it right and throw the old one away, and as I'm ringing up the order, even though it was free it still had to be rung up at $0 for bread count accuracy, the phone rings. So I hand the man his sandwich and answer the phone and there is this woman on the phone hysterically crying on the other end, and so I ask if she's alright and she informs me that she called earlier and she felt horrible about yelling at me because she realized she wrote it down wrong and it wasn't my fault, and the whole time I'm just awkwardly telling her that it's okay, no big deal, we got it taken care of, you're okay, don't worry about it, it's no big deal. And then she, still sobbing, asks me straight up, "Do you forgive me?" And I said, "It's all good, no worries," and she said, "No. Do you forgive me?" And I said, "Yeah, don't worry about it," and she asked again, "But do you forgive me?" And I replied, "Yes, I forgive you. Have a great night, ma'am." After which she hung up. I still remember that even 7 years later, because it was the only time I've ever had a customer call back not only to apologize, but crying about it as well. Ironically, for the question, I don't actually remember what the specific sandwich was. I wanna say it was an oven roasted chicken breast, but I truly am just taking a shot in the dark.